Would you like to perform the honors of lighting the candle? And what it is we have the candles pre-lit here, and you use the small candles to light the big one. That's right. Actually, I don't think it is traditional to. Maybe just why? Maybe just Anjali. You know? That's right. We do this traditionally so that the one giving the sermon, in case he wants to read some scripture, have plenty of light. There we go. Very good. Sadhu. And I think you said that it's already streaming to YouTube. Is that right? Yeah, very good. Okay.
It is now.
Okay. Welcome everyone at home. My name is Achan Wade Buripanyo, and I came to reside here at Wat Florida Tamaram about 2 months ago. I normally am now up at the Ashokan Meditation Center in New York State, spending the winter down here. Thanks to the loving kindness of Ten Chao Kun Sunan and the Bhikkhu Sangha and the wonderful lay supporters here as well. And this is the regular 1 o'clock talk that we have every Sunday. Ten Chao Kun is now in Curacao, a small island off the coast of Colombia that is in fact owned by the Netherlands. So he's in the Netherlands in the Caribbean Ocean, and he is leading a 1-week meditation retreat there. And so he asked me to give the talk in his place today. Traditionally, we begin this session with the 5 precepts ceremony. And so I'd like to ask the assembled lay people if they are familiar with requesting the 5 precepts, and if that's something that we can do today. I wonder, Dr. Somsak, should we do the request, or if not, perhaps we can just go right into the ceremony by starting with the Namo Tassa 3 times. That would certainly be all right. Okay. The lay people here at the temple undertook the 5 precepts already this morning as part of the meal proceedings, as is customary here at Wat Florida Tamaram. But we do the 5 precepts ceremony as part of the live stream for the benefit of those tuning in via YouTube. All right. And so having requested the 5 precepts, then I will start the ceremony by reciting the Namo Tassa 3 times.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Okay. All right. Puttang saranang gacchami.
Puttang saranang gacchami.
Dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dhammang saranang gacchami.
Sanghang saranang gacchami.
Sanghang saranang gacchami.
Tutiyampi puttang saranang gacchami.
Tutiyampi puttang saranang gacchami.
Tutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi puttang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tisarana-gamanang nititang. Panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Adina Adina Tana Veramani Sikkhapatam Samadhiyami. Kame Sumi Chachara Veramani Sikkhapatam Samadhiyami. Musa Vata Veramani Sikkhapatam Samadhiyami. Sura Meraya Maja Pamadatana Veramani Sikkhapatam Samadhiyami. Imani Pancha Sikkhapadani Silena Sugating Yanti Silena Bhogasampatam Silena Nibuting Yanti Tasama Silang Viso Taye.
Parashang Kachatida Te Se Tutamam Anukam Bimang Pacham.
Very good. Yeah. Okay. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Puttang dhammang sanghang namasami. Well, welcome everyone to the Sunday afternoon talk. We had a lovely recitation of Brahma Chaloka before the talk, which is a traditional invitation to give a Dhamma talk. It's a request for a Dhamma talk. And the reference is when the great Brahma came down from his Brahma realm after the Buddha had decided to not teach. And he persuaded the Buddha that in fact there were living beings in the universe who could understand his teachings. And so he requested that the Buddha please teach the Dhamma that he had seen. And after which the Buddha surveyed the entire universe to see, was this really true? Shortly after awakening, when he thought of teaching, he thought that it would be impossible for anyone to understand because the Dhamma is so subtle. But surveying the universe with the eye of a fully and perfectly awakened Buddha, he saw that in fact the great Brahma was right, that there are living beings who can understand. And he chose as the first people that he would teach the five seekers who had been his attendants during his search for enlightenment. First, he had considered teaching one of his first meditation teachers, thinking that he would understand quickly the Dhamma. But angels told him Devas told him that his former teacher had already passed away. And so the Buddha checked and saw that in fact this was true. And then so he thought of his second meditation teacher. But Devas told him that that teacher also had passed away. And the Buddha checked and saw that this also was true. And then so he thought of his 5 former attendants who had left him shortly before he awakened, thinking that the Buddha, then still a bodhisattva, had returned to a life of luxury because he took a full meal of food. And so the Buddha went to where they were staying at the Deer Park and delivered his famous first sermon, the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, in which he laid out the 4 Noble Truths, which the tradition understands to be a hallmark of the Buddhist religion. 4 truths that only Samma Sambuddhas awaken to and can teach. And so when the Buddhist religion comes to an end, then the 4 Noble Truths are gone. And the universe has to wait for another Samma Sambuddha, a rightly and fully awakened one, to come into the world and see them again and teach us all. The first noble truth that he taught was the noble truth of suffering. He told these 5 friends of his, birth is suffering, aging is suffering, and death is suffering. Sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair are suffering. Association with the disliked is suffering, and separation from what we love is suffering. Not attaining one's wishes is suffering. In fact, the 5 aggregates associated with clinging are suffering. The 5 aggregates being qualities of physical reality and our emotional world and our cognitive world. Then he taught that the second noble truth is the truth of the cause of suffering. He told his 5 friends that the cause of suffering is thirst. In Pali, the word is tanha, often translated into English as craving or desire. Literally, the word means thirst. And the Buddha said, what kind of thirst? He said it is the thirst for sensual pleasures, the thirst for becoming, and the thirst for non-becoming. This means the thirst for those beautiful sights and sounds, and for delicious aromas and tastes, and physical sensations, and even ideas that we like. Because according to Buddhism, we have 6 senses. Then the thirst for becoming is the thirst to take action and experience the results. And the thirst for non-becoming is the thirst to not take action and not experience the results. And together they form the cause of suffering. And then the third noble truth he taught is the noble truth of the cessation of suffering. He told his 5 former friends that there is an end of all suffering, and it is the end of that very same thirst. If we can eliminate that thirst from the heart, then we can become liberated from all suffering. and attain what he called Nibbana, which is the Pali equivalent to the Sanskrit word nirvana. It's a word that they use to describe when a fire goes out, when all the fires in the heart are extinguished. Then the enlightened one is liberated, then need suffer no more, is emancipated from the round of rebirths, is birth and death. It reminds me of the Buddha's first exhortation after deciding to teach. After deciding to teach, the Buddha said, "Let those who can hear me bring forth your faith. Open are the doors to immortality." This is the promise of the third noble truth, that there is something beyond birth and death that we can aspire to, that is free of suffering. And then the fourth noble truth that the Buddha taught was the noble truth of the path that leads to the end of suffering. It is what he called the middle way between indulgence in sensual pleasures and self-torment, both of which he had experienced in his own life. Being able to indulge in sensual pleasures as a prince in the palace, and then having tormented himself as an ascetic seeking enlightenment. He was familiar with both of these extremes. And he found through practicing both that neither would lead to freedom from suffering, would lead him out of the round of rebirths. And so he told his disciples that the path leading to the end of suffering was right view, right thought, also sometimes translated as right intention. Right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. These can be summarized also as the three aspects of the path involving what we call sila in Pali, meaning morality or self-control, and concentration and wisdom. The path has these three aspects: morality, concentration, and wisdom. And so a large part of the Buddha's teaching career for 45 years after delivering that first sermon was explaining these Four Noble Truths and the Noble Eightfold Path in detail, thoroughly for his disciples. It's been handed down to us now over 100 generations, all the way over here in the United States. One aspect of the story that stands out to me now is that after the Buddha's 5 friends left him, having attended on him for 6 years, hoping that when he attained enlightenment that he would teach them, is that even though they abandoned him, the Buddha still went to teach them. The Buddha had a sense of gratitude, remembering all that they had done for him. And he wasn't the type of person to hold a grudge. This was tremendously beneficial to them. As many of you may know the story of Kondanya, who became known as Anya Kondanya, Kondanya who sees, declared such by the Buddha after delivering the Four Noble Truths to him, because on that occasion, the Anya Kondanya, Venerable Anya Kondanya, gave rise to the eye of Dhamma and became a Sotapanna, right there where he sat, listening to the Four Noble Truths. And so he was rewarded for his efforts in attending to the Bodhisattva over that 6-year period. And he and the other 4 were to attain enlightenment, full arahantship, very shortly afterward, listening to the Anatalakkhana Sutta, delivered by the Buddha, the sutta on the not self characteristic. And so the Buddha did not hold a grudge, and he still had compassion and a sense of gratitude for his 5 former friends. I think this is very significant. It can be difficult to have that mindset if we feel we've been abandoned by someone, if we feel someone has lost faith in us, and no longer believes in us. The Buddha taught many times about the value of perseverance and putting forth effort. This is often interpreted as putting forth a lot of effort in meditation practice, which of course is very good. Putting forth a lot of effort in ascetic practices even also, because the Buddhist religion still does have some ascetic practices, such as staying up all night meditating or eating 1 meal a day. For example, there's also the perseverance in being friends, which I think is a very valuable thing as well. If we can persevere in being friends, then there's so many more opportunities for friendship. If we hold a grudge and give up on friendships when there are problems, then we lose so many opportunities. We have to find new people and maybe start all over again. This is something I think is very significant about this story. And of course, his 5 former friends were willing and they accepted. Not easily at first. Many of you may know the story that actually when they saw the fully awakened Buddha coming towards them in the Deer Park, they agreed amongst themselves to not pay him any attention. But then as he approached, they couldn't help themselves and they prepared a seat for him. They protested when he told them that he had attained awakening, because they didn't believe it. He had to overcome this by appealing to their memory of his character. He told them, "Have you ever heard me say this before, that I've attained awakening?" And they had to admit that they never had. So he wasn't someone to say this easily, even during 6 years of striving, that he'd never said that he'd attained awakening. He never made this mistake. And so they agreed to listen to him. So they were wise. They were wise. They listened to reason, and they're willing to give him a chance, much to their benefit. Now, the Four Noble Truths are quite a remarkable teaching. The very first sermon that the Buddha gave, I think it rewards serious students with rich contemplation. As simple as they may seem on the surface, their contemplation yields tremendous insights, and we can apply them really throughout our lives. Lungpu Sumeto, the Ajahn Chah's first Western disciple, later told his disciples that when he was studying Buddhism in Thailand, there were many opportunities to study a wide variety of things, but he had a little pamphlet about the Four Noble Truths, a little pamphlet or a booklet about the Four Noble Truths. So not even a very big book, a small book. But he said it was enough. He said, because there's so much in the Four Noble Truths to contemplate. He said, the first noble truth, that is suffering. And he said he had a lot of suffering. And so he had a lot to contemplate. And so he didn't need a big book. And they formed the way out of suffering, out of the round of birth and death. If we contemplate the round of birth and death, it's a very profound thing. The suttas tell us that the Buddha described to his disciples about the long road of samsara. He told them that you've already wandered in samsara for so long, that the tears you've shed so far are greater than all the water to be found in the great oceans of the entire world. He said, if you contemplate this, it is enough to make you dispassionate towards the round of rebirths. I think that's very, very true in my own life, taking some time to consider this sort of thing. It can be very sobering. Some of you may recall the last talk I gave here a few weeks ago on the topic of sobriety in regard to the round of rebirths, and the Buddha, still the Bodhisattva, of course, before he left the palace, encountering aged people, sick people, and death, realized that he shouldn't draw apart from these. And he shouldn't try to, in the sense of drawing apart, in the sense of not being willing to face them. He shouldn't try to avoid facing these things, he said, because he himself was also subject to these. So it wasn't fitting, it didn't make sense. Instead of drawing away from them, trying to avoid them, he should try to face these realities. Yeah. In contemplating old age, disease, and death, his intoxication with youth and with health and with life entirely fell away, as he says in the suttas. And so he became sober. And the metaphor of the tears is another way of bringing this to mind, that it isn't just in this life that we experience aging and disease and death. In fact, we've done it many times, and we've shed tears many, many times. It's often been pointed out that the Four Noble Truths are presented to us in a format that's similar to how a physician diagnoses disease and offers a prognosis and a prescription. With the diagnosis, there is suffering, and then telling us about the cause of suffering, why we have this disease. And then he tells us that there is hope, that there is nibbana. And the prescription to get there is the Noble Eightfold Path. This is a format that's used in problem solving in a wider context in today's world as well. The SBAR, or Situation, Background, Assessment, and Recommendation. It's exactly the same sort of format the Buddha used to deliver the Four Noble Truths. It's one reason the Buddha has been called the great physician. He has this insight into the disease of life and the prescription for how to get out of it. The frequent contemplation of suffering is something that the Buddha recommended to his disciples. One format for this is the 5 subjects for frequent recollection. The Buddha taught his disciples that everyone, whether they are monastics or lay people, should frequently recollect, I am subject to aging. I have not gone beyond aging. I am subject to health problems. I have not gone beyond health problems. I'm subject to dying. I have not gone beyond death. Then the 4th subject is that everything that is dear and pleasing to me will change and be separated from me. I've read that this also can be translated in inverse, that everything that I find dear and pleasing will change. No, excuse me. Say in inverse would be, I will change and become separated from everything that I find dear and pleasing. So the things that we love will change and be separated from us, and also we will change and become separate from what we love. And then the 5th subject for frequent recollection, that I am the owner of my actions and live dependent on my actions. Whatever I do, whether for good or for ill, of that I will be the heir. And so we have in the first 4 recollections aspects of suffering that we all face. And then with the 5th recollection, we have the recollection that we have an influence in all of these processes. So just as in the Four Noble Truths, where we have suffering and the cause of suffering, we also have the way out of suffering, our own actions. Lung Pu Man, teacher of Lung Pu Cha and so many other masters in Thailand, he used to tell his disciples that our kamma, that is our intentional actions, are something that we truly own. Most things in life we don't really own, even if we call them ours. If we think about our material possessions, if we think about our relationships, if we think even about our roles in life and our own bodies, they all eventually are out of our control, even if we can exert some influence over them. But our actions, or kamma, they are in a way for sure, in that we'll receive these consequences. And this is a very positive thing. That if we hear the Buddha's teachings, if we have faith in them, if we try them out and find what works for them and what works for us in them, then we can do many good things and develop many good consequences for ourselves. In the suttas, it says that if we give something to a human being, it will come back to us at least 1,000 times over. It also says in the suttas that however many gifts and offerings one might give over the course of an entire year, they don't match the merit, the good karma, of worshiping one who is consummate. So worship is another skillful action that we have to generate a great deal of good karma, of merit. The Buddha also said that even if we gave away 89 thousands of gold and silver, which in modern terms would be like saying, even if we gave away millions of dollars over the course of an entire year, he said, that it wouldn't match the merit of undertaking the 5 precepts. Something very good that you've all done today. Today in the eating hall and also here in the Dhamma hall before the talk. The 5 precepts are a foundation for the Buddhist religion. They say that before the Bodhisattva descended from the two-seater heaven, one of the conditions that there had to be on earth was that human beings, or enough human beings, kept the 5 precepts. And so because of the 5 precepts, we can have the Dhamma, we can have the Buddhist teachings in the world. And according to the suttas and the teachings of the masters, they're also the floor between the human realm and the lower realms. If we practice generosity, this is very good for us, and it's very important. In order to have the material requisites that we need for life, we have to practice generosity. But if we don't keep the 5 precepts, then we receive the benefits of our generosity in the lower realms. And so we don't get to enjoy the human life, but we receive the benefits on the level of an animal, perhaps, something like this in the lower realms. And so the masters in Thailand say that a true human is one who keeps the 5 precepts. They have the opportunity to be reborn again in the human realm. And again, in the suttas, the Buddha taught that as much good karma as it is, as much merit as it is to undertake the 5 precepts, practicing loving-kindness meditation for just as long as it takes to milk a cow is still even more merit. I've never done it, but I've read that to milk a cow takes about 15 minutes. And so meditation is another source of a tremendous amount of merit. And then he went on to say that as much merit as this is, it's still even more merit to perceive impermanence for the duration of a finger snap of time. Just that much time. This is a very important thing, a very profound thing, the perception of impermanence. If we think that perceiving impermanence for just as long as a finger snap of time is so valuable by Buddhist standards, it points to how much of the time we're going through life perceiving things inaccurately. That if we could perceive impermanence for just a brief moment, how much of a difference it would make in our lives. Awakening, of course, means being awake. And until we attain awakening, we're living in a dream. Misperceiving things, misperceiving that which is impermanent as being permanent, and that which is unsatisfactory as being satisfactory, that which is not self as being self, that is, being me and mine, me and mine. And experiencing conditioned phenomena in this way, living in this dream, the heart becomes attached. Thinking that in the various conditioned phenomena we come in contact with, we're finding something permanent, satisfactory, something that is us and ours. Whether it is our material possessions, our role in life, our relationships. And then when these things change, or when we change, and we find ourselves separated from them, that is when we suffer. Having attached to them and held on to them due to our misperceptions. I think many of us have lost loved ones in one way or another. Common saying in the United States, in America, is that having lost something that is very dear to us, such as a loved one, we might say that it feels as though there is a hole in my heart. Or we might say it feels as though part of me is missing. By Buddhist standards, a very accurate way of describing the kind of feeling. The heart having held on to something so tightly for so long that when it's gone, there's something missing there. There's a hole there. And we suffer. Many of these kinds of things we actually know if we think about them. We know that our material possessions and our loved ones will eventually be separated from us. We know that our roles will change over time and, in fact, eventually we'll be separated from our own bodies as well. But the heart doesn't know this. We know, but the heart doesn't know. And this is what the path of practice is about. And why Buddhism has been called the training of the heart. Bringing the heart to learn, to see the way things really are, so that it no longer craves and wants and attaches to the things of this world. No longer craving and attaching to these things. The heart resides independent and self-satisfied. Meaning that is, the heart itself, if it is independent, free of craving, desire, and attachment, experiences satisfaction on its own. Something that is always seeking from the world but never finding. And the answer to this problem of the search for satisfaction is that the answer is actually within us. It's not outside of us. Another way of talking about the second noble truth. The cause of suffering is in the heart. And so we have the training in generosity, which helps us to let go and be less selfish, and which also feels good if we have faith in generosity. And we have the training in worship, aligning the heart with what is truly important to help us stay with our priorities in life and to follow the right path. And we have the training in morality or self-control, such as with the 5 precepts and the precepts of the Noble Eightfold Path. And we have the training in meditation, such as loving kindness and the recollection of the Buddha, recollection of the Dhamma, recollection of the Sangha, and so many other wonderful meditation methods that the Buddha gave us. And the training in wisdom, understanding and contemplating impermanence, for example, in the 5 subjects for frequent recollection, and training the heart to experience these realities as they are, as they play out in our lives. Pardon me, doctor. I don't have a watch. I didn't bring out my watch. I wonder if I could ask for a time check.
47 minutes.
It's
47 minutes.
47 minutes remaining.
About 15 minutes remaining.
15 minutes remaining, okay. Wow. Okay, only 15 minutes remaining. Well, we only have 15 minutes remaining. Talked longer than I realized. And why don't we take this opportunity now to practice a little bit of meditation. So I'll do a short guided meditation for us. And this is a meditation that we can do whether sitting on the floor or sitting in a chair. We could do this meditation lying down or standing, even walking if you like, for those of you who are at home, if you can still hear me. And if it feels comfortable to do so, you can close your eyes. To help us come inward. If it's not comfortable, or if you see many images, then you may want to open your eyes and let some light in. Or if you're feeling drowsy, and then if we come inside the body, and notice what we feel there. we may notice one prominent sensation, or there may be multiple sensations. And just see if we can be present in order to get in touch with the body here and now. Just being with the sensations for a few moments. Notice the body and let go of everything else. Leave everything else on the outside to take care of itself for a little while. Putting down other things and getting in touch with what's right here. All right. Then I would like to ask you to, if it feels comfortable to do so, to notice the breath. Within the body. And get in touch with the feeling of the breath at the heart. There in the middle of the chest. Feeling the air rise and descend in the middle of the chest, or the rise and fall of the chest itself. And it may change as we become aware of it. And we can work with it to help it feel comfortable and feel good. And then slowly allow it to settle into a natural rhythm. All right. And having gotten in touch with the body and moving closer to the heart, I would like us to segue, if it feels comfortable to do so, to practicing loving kindness meditation. First, by developing thoughts of goodwill towards ourselves. At one time, each one of us was just a baby. And if we remember that baby now, that was us, as though that little child were right here in the heart. And wish, may I be happy. May I be happy. Repeating this phrase to ourselves gently, thinking of this little child that is us. May I be happy. All right. Very good. And then we can segue from thinking of this baby and think of another person. Someone preferably living who is very dear to us, or whom we respect and admire. It might be a teacher or an elder relative or another family member or a dear friend. And picturing them there at the heart or holding them there at the heart, wish for them. May they be happy. Or may you be happy. May they be happy. May they be happy. Now, if the mind wanders, that's quite normal. We simply become alert to this and aware of it and notice what the mind has gotten involved with. And whatever it is, we just notice that we're not interested in that right now. And let it go on its own way. And return to this wish in the heart. May they be happy. All right. And then we can transition. Let go of this person and think of someone else who is dear to us. Maybe a good friend or a family member or even a pet. And holding them in the heart, we can wish, may they be happy. May they be happy. May they be happy. Noticing the feeling in the heart as we slowly develop this wish for that person or that being's happiness. All right. And then with this person in the heart, we can bring in, once again, that little baby as well. That little baby that is us. Wishing, may we be happy. May we be happy. Repeating this wish sincerely in the heart. And then notice if there is any suffering there. Any unpleasant feeling. If not, that's okay. But if there is, we might think, may I be free of suffering. And being there with it, allow it to relax. May I be free of suffering. And allow any suffering there in the heart to ease out. And let it go. And then if we like, we can wish for ourselves again. May I be happy. And then we can slowly start to bring the meditation to a close. First, by raising our hands and joining them palm to palm in front of the heart. Out of gratitude and respect for meditation. And then we can slowly and mindfully lower our hands again. And we can open our eyes as we stay inside, not going out yet. And notice how we feel now. Do we feel more grounded and clear inside? Perhaps a little lighter also. All right. And so if we end the meditation there, and the talk as well. We've probably gone over time a little bit. And we can proceed into the customary closing ceremonies. I believe it's yes, okay. Homage and asking for forgiveness, probably, right? Does anyone, does it seem like, is that something we can do? Maybe usually do, I think, Arahang and then the... okay.
Supatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Sāṅgham Namāmi กายเยนะวาจาเยวาเจตัสสาวาพุทเทปุกมังปะระตังมะยะยังพุทโธปฏิคันหาโตอจิยันตังการันตะเรสังวริโตวะพุทเทกายเยนะวาจาเยวาเจตัสสาวาธัมเมปุกมังปะระตังมะยะยังธัมโมปฏิคันหาโตอจิยันตังการันตะเรสังวริโตวะธัมเมกายเยนะวาจาเยวาเจตัสสาวาสังเทปุกมังปะระตังมะยะยังสังโฆปฏิคันหาโตอจิยันตังการันตะเรสังวริโตวะสังเคอันทาทานิวิญญาพันเตอาปุจฉามะโตหุปิจารามะยังโตหุปรินิยา
Sadhu. Okay.